It's straightforward to install the Visual Studio. In this section, all you gotta do is to run the installation file, select the components we need, and hit Next a couple of times, and the work is done. We'll now see the process as follows. So now, let's install this tool and learn how to add analysis services. After carrying out these two remaining tasks, we'll have packed all we need for the journey. You downloaded the file in the previous section. If you haven't, go and download the installation file I told you about in the same way I explained at the beginning of the training. Now you have the installation file, and all you gotta do to install it is to follow these steps. Double-click on the VS file. After executing the file, the Visual Studio installer will open. In this step, you should click on the Continue button. After the installation process is complete, a window opens asking you to select the features you want to install. As you can see, this window has 4 tabs. In this section, you gotta select the workload you need. Keep in mind that you should select the items that you need in this section because for every selection that you make, a large part of your disk space becomes occupied. Now you can see here that selecting each section shows me the amount of space it occupies down here. What we need here for our work is this option called Data Storage Processing. Now when we select this workload, the details of the selected workload are displayed on its right. Here it's telling me that by selecting and installing this item, these items such as SQL Server Data, Tool.NET Framework, and so on will be installed for you. And these are precisely what I gotta have in the Visual Studio. The second tab is Individual Components. The third tab is Language Packs. The fourth tab is Installation Locations. So we chose some items based on the needs that we have. For instance, we chose the data storage and processing from the first tab, left the second tab in its default mode, chose the language as English, and left the installation location at its default too. Now, after making the initial settings, all we gotta to do is click on Install for the installation process to be conducted based on our choices. Now, after installing the Visual Studio, we gotta install and activate SQL Server Analysis service on it. All I gotta do is click on it and run it. I create a new project. I give it a name. Now, after installing the Visual Studio, we gotta install and activate SQL Server Analysis service on it. Now to install the SSAS, I gotta come here, the extension menu, and click on the Manage Extension option. This is where you can install the extensions you need in the Visual Studio. Since we're gonna install the SSAS extension, all we should do is search for SSAS in the search bar. You can see in this section that it has brought the Microsoft Analysis Services Projects 2022 for us with a download button beside it. I should first click on this button to download the extension and start installing it. After clicking the download button of this extension, its download process starts. After the download process is done, we double-click on it for the SSAS to install. This is when this window pops up. And eventually hit the Install button for the SSAS installation to start. Close the Visual Studio, click the End Tasks button. As you can see, the SSAS installation process is finished, and you can click the Close button. Now, all you have to do to create an SSAS project is to create a new project in the Visual Studio. To run the Visual Studio, all you gotta do is type Visual Studio in the Windows search bar. You can see that as soon as I type in the first characters, it suggests its complete name for me. All I gotta do is click on it and run it. I create a new project. I give it a name. Now, all you have to do to create an SSAS project is to create a new project in the Visual Studio. To do this, I go to the File menu, select New, and hit the Project option. In this section, we gotta specify that we want to create an SSAS project. So we choose the nature of the project in the first place. We select the Analysis Services Multidimensional Project option to do this. I click Next. Give it a name. Click on Create. And done. An SSAS project was created for me. This section on the right includes all the tools I can use to create and manage SSAS projects. In the following, we will enter this section and start the practical training with these tools.